Welcome to another episode of Women Investing in Women, where we take a moment to pause and celebrate women who are making a difference, not just for their family, but for the community. The one thing I love about women who do things for beyond their family is they've figured out how to be the soul of the spot they stand in. And from where they stand, they impact and bring about positive change and healing and nurturing. And that is where we get to be in our own power. When we are in our power, we get to nurture and build and help everybody become whole in their own right so that they can go and make the impact they need to. And you're going to absolutely love the woman we're going to be talking to today. She has been on my Goldilocks podcast, and we are delighted to bring her into the Women Investing in Women community. And Robin, please take it away.
Absolutely. And I am beyond thrilled to have this guest, Christine Litster Fales, and I am Robin Litster Johnson. And yes, we are related. She's my older sister. And I'm really just thrilled to have her on. And I knew that she was amazing. And then when she sent me her bio with all these things written down, I was like, wow, she really is amazing. But she's written multiple books. She has a web, and what prompted me to invite her to be a guest is she has a website called mamafales.com, and simple motherly advice because everyone needs a mother. And our show focuses not just on women helping women, but women supporting children, women supporting families. And so Christine has written multiple books about marriage, and she has written actually I should say composed a music album called Wings of Glory, and it's about hope and help with addiction, and has written a companion book to that. So, and she has like I say, a couple of websites and just has lots of wonderful things going on in her life. And the first question to kick this off is, what prompted you, with everything that you have written, she's written books of poetry, etc., what prompted you to create this website, Mama Fales, and this lovely tagline, because everyone needs a mother? Kind of what was the catalyst for bringing you and your many gifts to the public?
Well, I believe it had to start with when I was working in a drug rehab. My son was in the rehab, and the kids would come to people's homes at night. And so in addition to the 9 children I already had, we had 4 young men and 4 young women who would come and stay with us. And one of the young men started calling me Mama Fales. And so that's where I got the name. And what I found that, I was like a mother to them at night when they came to my house. And I could share how I felt about them and that they were of value. And I learned quickly that once the drugs are out of their system, they're amazing. And so fast forward many years, the reason I have the website is my youngest son, Matt. He was in college, BYU, Idaho, in Rexburg, and he had a terrible accident playing basketball. He ended up with TBI, bleeding on the brain, emergency surgery, almost died, and he didn't. He had a miraculous recovery, and he wanted to get back into college, which the doctor said, that's too much for your brain. He wanted to do it and so I made the decision, I will move to Rexburg for a semester so Matt can go to school and I can take care of everything for him. All he has to do is his schoolwork. But I thought, what am I going to do with the rest of my time? And I'd written so many things that I wanted to publish and print and share with the world. And I knew it wasn't going to happen. I didn't know when it would happen. So I decided I would ask one of my daughters to make a website for me, and I'd put everything I'd ever written online. And so if people wanted to read something, then it would be there. And then I'd I continued writing blogs that she would post. And so my daughter did the whole website, did everything for me, and continues once a month. We talk over the phone and do something else. Well, hopefully once a month. Sometimes I get behind. But anyway, so that's how it all started.
That is absolutely beautiful, because being a mother is not just biology, it is psychology, it's spiritual, it is the very essence of how you show up. So I'm so glad to hear that you are being that mother figure for a lot of folks. And I personally understand it, because even my own students, once they're no longer in class, I go from Professor Henry to Mama Cass, right? The mamas and the papas. So I don't look my age, and then everybody keeps talking about how can you have kids this grown up. And when they have kids, I'm grandma Cass, right? So I can truly relate to this, not just in terms of what it takes, but the joy it brings and the way it fills the cup and fulfills you, right? So I truly understand that, absolutely appreciate that. I want you to talk about, how does this make you feel? And you used a specific word that you have many gifts. I'm always amazed at, everybody has gifts, but some people hoard it, the others give it away. When you hoard it, you're a hoarder. When you give it away, you're a gifter. And what we've been blessed with is only a gift when we give it away. So talk to us and talk to the women in the group about the power of giving it away and become a gift giver, and how that then transcends everything in your own life.
Well, I would say I have been given so many gifts by other people. People have helped me so many ways. My own family, Robin, of course. I have been given so much. And as I've watched people give to me, I've thought, I can help somebody else. I can do something. And so as I give anything, a smile, take a meal to somebody, hold somebody's baby, whatever I do, I'm the recipient. So as I give, I receive. And I realize it's a cycle. We share with each other, and none of us are up all the time. And so when we need someone, I've always been blessed. Someone steps in for me. And then I have learned, and I think I learned this from my parents, to be sensitive to other people's needs. My parents cared about other people deeply, especially those who were disadvantaged, very caring parents. And watching their example, I have been happy to learn how to carry on that legacy. And I say learn because it's not easy to step outside your comfort zone and help somebody else. But once you start learning and you start doing it, then it's so rewarding that you keep doing it. But then you have to balance your life, because you can't always be serving other people. You have to have time to take care of yourself too, because if the well is dry, you have nothing to give. And I've had to work on that through my life too.
It's interesting, because I was just thinking about that very topic. Christine mentioned 9 children. She actually has 11 children, and one son passed away, but 10 living children. And it can be very overwhelming with so many needs, so many demands. And so my question was going to be, how can women, balance between, yes, giving, and yes, receiving, yes, taking care of someone else, yes, taking care of ourselves. It's always a juggling balance. The other thing that popped into my head as I was thinking about this question is the notion of, which you alluded to, expanding our capacity to give and expanding our capacity to be willing to ask for help. So how do you do all this massive juggling act of all your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, helping David in his business. How do you do that balancing act?
Well, I'm still learning, but what I have found, I do have to take care of myself first. And I have found that I need 30 minutes of spiritual nourishment, prayers, scripture reading, inspiring books. I need that every day. I also have to exercise every day. Oh, so hard. But I now do it. And when I do those two things, exercise and get my spiritual nourishment, then my brain works. My brain works and I can figure out, what do I need to do today? What do I need to do this hour? And instead of just feeling like I just have to go rush around and do everything and be a crazy person, which I can be calm and I can think this is a priority. And with my prayers, if I feel impressed to text someone, I've learned, I used to write notes. I stop my prayer and I text someone right then. And so I feel like it's the little things. Sometimes you have to do big things, like when each of my daughters and daughter-in-laws have had babies, I've spent a week with them to help connect with their baby and help them. And so those are big things. You take a big week or two, those are big, but it's the little things that count. And sometimes it's just texting one of my grandkids. Just thinking about you today, how are you doing? So you have to, plan for the big things, but be spontaneous with the little things. But always, you have to take care of yourself. But you can't just take care of yourself. That's an unhappy life. And I think that kind of goes into I have what's called 13 choices for happiness and high self-esteem. And there's 13 categories. And I have learned, as I keep working in these different categories, then I don't feel overwhelmed. I realize life is a process. And so I have more balance in my life.
I am happy to hear that you actually have a structured approach that works for you, and you're prioritizing your mind, body, and spirit. So you're nurturing the whole person so that you can be present for you and those around you. And that by itself is a nugget of wisdom we want all the audience to take away from here, right? And what's coming up for me is when you structure your life and you go from that place of spiritual connection and mindfulness to structure your day, how do you handle when emergencies come up that was not part of your structure, that is not part of something you thought about? But life happens, right? Life is all about the unpredictability. And when things happen, everybody wants the mother figure. That's where everybody comes running to. How do you make space for that and still be present for everything that you want to be for the day?
Well, my priority is my family. And when one of my kids call, I stop what I'm doing and I take the call, even if I'm at the office. That's my priority. And my kids know that. I have set times when they've requested we be accountability partners, and we check in on a regular basis. Others, it's very spontaneous. As far as emergencies, you stop and take care of it. And I must say that, I make plans every morning. It doesn't mean that, my day goes according to plan. But what I've learned, and I read this in a book, is accomplish one thing. And I also read that priorities used to be singular, priority. And so you just, now it's priorities. Well, what do you do with priorities? It's too much. So one thing a day, I have a priority, and I write it down and I make sure I do it. And when I write it down, I choose something that I know I can do that day. And so there's that feeling of accomplishment that I did get one thing done. But as far as everything else that comes up, you keep a smile on your face and you say, oh, I'd be happy to do that. And you help, because that's what life is all about. We do want to help people, and we want to have people help us. And I have to say that I had to learn this the hard way because I always liked being on the giving end. But one time I slipped and I fell and I dislocated and broke my right shoulder, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't dress myself, I couldn't put on my shoes. I was actually with my grandchildren at the time, and they had to help me put my shoes on. But when I came home, I had to start physical therapy. I couldn't drive. I had to call up people and ask them to inconvenience themselves to help me. And oh, that was so hard. But what I found is we all became friends. And so it was a blessing in disguise. I have so many more friends who I'd call close friends because they would take me, but as we drove back and forth, and when we got back to my house, sometimes we'd just sit and talk. What a blessing. And I wouldn't have had that if I hadn't had to, I was forced into receiving help. So, yeah.
I'm really impressed with your 13 choices that you had referenced earlier and related to Cass's question about structure. And so I'm wondering, how did this notion of 13 choices come about? And how were you able to crystallize them into 13 choices? And I would love for you to read your list to us.
Well, I'll explain the background. Back to the drug rehab, there was a girl that came to my house and she said, "Do you have high self-esteem?" And I said, "I think I do." And she says, "Can you tell me how to get it?" And so I told her a few things. And then after everyone went to bed, I sat down and wrote down 5 choices. So it started out with 5 choices and shared them with her, with my son, other people in the group. They really liked it. And then over the years, I would see something else that made me feel bad about myself. I'd say, "Oh, that's something I should change." On down to till I finally got to 13. I stopped at 13 because my father had taught me about Benjamin Franklin's 13 virtues. And if you go through a 13 period 4 times a year, that's 52 weeks. You use it the whole year. And so I knew that 13 was kind of a magic number. So I stopped at 13. So I did it for me. What makes me feel good about myself? And I actually, excuse me, I actually worked on it for years and years and years and never could get it right. And so I finally just said, got on my knees, "Heavenly Father, please help me finish this." And I got no revelation. So I said, "Okay, I'm through." And I put it in the bottom drawer of my dresser. And I said, "I'm done. I can't do it anymore." 6 months later, you don't always have to wait 6 months for an answer to prayer, but I waited 6 months and I woke up one morning and these words were flowing into my mind. And I just grabbed a pencil and just started writing.
Do you want to list out those 13?
Yes, so I can read them. I choose to worship my Father in heaven every day and live a Christ-centered life. I choose to keep my body healthy and clean and avoid addictive substances at all times. I choose to use my mind to create, explore the universe, and find my place in it. I choose to share my feelings kindly and honestly with others and strive to be peaceful. I choose to look at people as equals and never judge or compare others to myself. I choose to accept full responsibility for all of my choices and never blame others. I choose to educate myself on a daily basis so I'll be useful to the betterment of society. I choose to work within the time frame I'm given without being stressed or rushed. I choose to keep my surroundings clean and beautiful and live in a house of order. I choose to enjoy my work, live abundantly, and use my means to help other people. I choose to only see and listen to those things that uplift and inspire the human mind. I choose to be the transitional figure in my family to free future generations from abuse. I choose to obey all of God's commandments and love and honor each of his children.
That is absolutely beautiful. And the list you just read directly correlates to why you set up that website. Because if they're all your children, then you're everybody's mother. And when they need a mom, you're always there. So that was absolutely beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. Before we wrap this up, could you please take a moment and tell our audience where they can get a hold of you? And we will make sure that that information is available when we release this episode.
To see what I've written already, they can go to my mamafales.com website. I also have another website specifically about suicide prevention, because my one son who passed away did die by suicide. And so I have a separate website about that, and that's Reason to Live SP. I also just started another website of Mama Fales gift shop, where I'm going to sell my products. But as far as reaching me, I'm just using right now my Mama Fales. Anyway, I can't even remember my own website.
We'll publish it. Don't worry about it. We will publish it when we release this.
I'll get to you on that one.
No worries at all. We have your information, so we will release that when we release the episode.
Okay.
And thank you so much for who you are, how you show up, and the impact you make for everybody around you, and especially for showing up with love and compassion. Because yes, as you said, they're all our children. And if we each showed up that way, we wouldn't have 80 to 90% of the problems people face in this world. So thank you for being that role model. And to our audience out there, you heard Mama Fales talk about what matters, right? And whether you're a mother, a father, or a mother figure, father figure, we all have an opportunity to choose how we want to impact others. And how we impact others impacts us too. Because the reality is the lives we sustain is never somebody else's, it's always ours. So as you take your step into a new week, as you look at how you're going to plan your day meaningfully, so that the impact you need to make for you and the impact you need to receive and the impact you can give, all of that is aligned. Because when the alignment is there, life absolutely falls into place. And that's how miracles happen.